So what are Canadians really thinking when you're talking about your business? Click here on the subscribe button and set up the alert if you want. And if the content of this specific video is useful, click the like button. So remember, Canada is a G7 country, right? The G7 is the group of the 7 richest countries in the world. It's also a very safe country with very low corruption relatively compared to most places in the world. It does have an excellent educational system compared to every global ranking. It does have one of the highest highly educated populations in the world, right? I think it's 65% of people have a post-secondary degree or a university college degree. There is an influx of immigrants coming here every year, between 350,000 and 500,000 new people that want to come to Canada every year. What's the result of all this? The result is that there is a confidence about Canadians that this is a great place in the world, that things here are good and things here are high quality, right? There is this confidence, which is true. Right? So the implication of that is that there is a difference between what you say, what you think that you're communicating, and what is actually being absorbed by the brain of a Canadian. How do I know that? Well, I was born and raised in an emerging country, but I live here in Canada for 25 years. So in a sense, my brain has two compartments now. I do have my emerging market brain, but I have my Canadian brain. And I can tell that there are things that are very different in the two sides of the brain. Let me share that with you. So, for example, if you're coming here to do business, right? There's two things you're doing. You're talking about your background and you're talking about what you want to do here in Canada. And there are problems in the way you're communicating both things. Let's get to details, right? When you talk about your background, let's say back home, you had a successful business that sold to large companies in your country of origin. And again, I am from these countries. I know things back home can be of great quality, even with better technology sometimes of some things that we have here in Canada, with more creativity, with some things that may be more efficient, more agile. I know that. But most people here, they may not know that. So what ends up happening is that if you have, for example, big clients at home that are household names in your country of origin, but people don't know who these people are up here in Canada, the minute you start to talk about the big national clients that you have back home, what you think you are doing is that you are showing how relevant you are in this scenario with these great companies back home. What actually will be happening here is that you're going to be emphasizing how you have a local merit. Yeah, you have a merit that people are going to be thinking, Canadians are nice. They're not arrogant. They're going to be thinking, oh yeah, good for you. That's great that you sell to all these people. But it's local. Local is the key word here. People will be thinking you have local success. Then you may think, no. We have multinational clients back home. Okay, let's take a look at this for a minute. When you bring up and you start to say, oh, I sell to Walmart in my country, I sell to General Motors or big banks or whatever. When you say that in your home country you already sell to multinational clients, what you think you are communicating is that you are up to global standards. Oh, you see, I sell to these guys back home, therefore I'm up to global standards. So trust me to buy from me in Canada too. No. What is actually happening in the brain of the Canadian, what they're actually thinking is, good, you're really good at solving local problems. Of course a multinational company is going to hire you locally because you know about the local intricacies better than anybody else. So yeah, it's only natural they buy from you. They're not thinking, oh, you must have a global standard then and they're buying from you. Yeah, you kind of had a good enough standard to service them in your home country, but that's it. The third thing, for example, I see a lot with reputable companies from any given country in the world, like emerging countries usually, right? It's like, oh, we are leader, we are the biggest in our country, in Nigeria, Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Iran, Pakistan, India, wherever could be, provided it is an emerging country, meaning a country that has a lot of social inequality there. if you're a leader at home and you bring it up and you start to communicate to people here, oh, but we're a leader, we're the market, we're the biggest this of my country or whatever, what you think you are communicating is that you have accomplished a lot. Look at how much I've done. I became the leader. That's true. But remember, Canada, G7 country, very rich, highly educated population and all this. And again, Canadians are so polite, they're never going to tell you that, right? But they maybe think, well, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed is king, right? Which is, yeah, sure, you're a leader there, but are you up to the standards of G7 countries? Show me in which G7 countries you're doing well. Even if you are, they maybe still think, yeah, but Germany is different from Canada. You know, what works in France may not work in Canada. What works in Italy, Austria. You see? So bringing up your success back home may backfire because it leads people to think about your specific local abilities, not you're ready for Canada. Let's look at a final thing here. Let's think about technology. You may think, wow, today technology, there's no secret anymore. Technology is global. Everybody has access to the latest technology. To a degree, right? What Canadians are thinking is that, well, we have all these research institutes, we have all these startups coming up with innovation all the time. So we're ahead here. We're creating the new things. You're just using whatever it's already proven in the market. You're kind of one version behind. That's what they'll be thinking, but they're not going to tell you. Okay, so when do you talk to Canadians about your plans about what you're going to be doing in Canada? We have problems too, because Canadians are always going to ask about your plan. So yeah, great, you're here in Canada now, you're coming here. So what's your plan? What we know as people who came from an emerging market is that it's very hard to predict the future. I mean, that's true too in any country, in Switzerland, in Canada, in the United States, in Japan. It's hard to predict the future. But back home, it's hard to make plans because things change a lot. So what we do is we make our path by walking. Yeah, let's take the first step, and then this works, we take the other step. We build our path, we trace our path by walking, right? That is perceived here as amateur. It's perceived as you're lost. You don't know what you're doing. You're just taking steps and trial and error. Where is your plan? That's what people are going to think. If you want to sell to Canadians, what you think is like, whoa, I want to sell to Canadians because I have this proven success. Look at the track record back home. That's what you may be thinking. What they may be thinking here is like, well, yeah, good for you, but you know what? We have more trusted options by here. Like we're going to buy local. We're going to buy from the guy here that sells here in the States. You know, we know them. And remember, we're going to have multi-factor decisions here, right? People decide by many people come to a decision. That means that you're going to be asked for different things. Let's say people don't want to know only your price and what you're selling. They want to know how you're going to be delivering, how the payment is like. Do you have an environmental policy and anti-sexual harassment policy and all that? You know, you may think, wow, what does it have anything to do with this thing I'm selling? Well, it does, because for them it's important that you have everything in place. Never have the attitude that, oh yeah, we're going to figure it out from a place that requires that. Whatever requires that, then we're going to figure it out. That, again, would be perceived as being a very amateuristic approach. Don't be perceived as an amateur here. Although I know in my heart, because I'm from one of these countries, I know that you're not an amateur. I know you have true quality. I know you know what you're doing. I know you can bring great value to Canada, but we're talking about what Canadians are thinking, what may be the perception in the market. So you have to use all the truth about your strengths, yes, but you need to know how to position yourself to be taken seriously and to be trusted. How you build powerful global solutions? You combine the emerging market creativity with the Canadian infrastructure, right? It is good to be a foreign-born business person in Canada, but how do you leverage that? We have our program here, Your Business in Canada, link in the description, and we help businesses of different sizes and different stages build their Canadian success. Good luck. Talk to you soon.